Okay. This is from a post that I did last week about how ChatGPT is like your super genius bookworm buddy, right? And we're going to be getting into this in a little bit, but I want to talk about some utility prompts today, go over um, some tools that I found really useful for creating content. I do a lot of content creation and notes processing. I had a really interesting kind of revelation when I took some notes on a Twitter discussion that was happening and used it to make some cool content for LinkedIn. Let's see. So we're not going to be talking too much about Midjourney today, although all the images that you see on the right-hand side are, or mostly, that's created throughout here are in Midjourney. But that'll be Thursday's meeting. I'm kind of splitting these out so we can focus a little bit more on ChatGPT today. And then people who are interested in Midjourney, that'll be more on Thursday, and just, creating images. So I'm a marketer, a content creator. That's kind of the frame I view a lot of this stuff from. I'm also a performing magician, and I'm going to say I'm a techno mage. Now, that's a really weird thing, probably, to say if you don't know sci-fi. But for those of you who do know sci-fi, you may be familiar with Arthur C. Clarke, who said, any sufficiently evolved technology is indistinguishable from magic. And I cannot emphasize enough how this year, more than any year in my life, I have felt that and realized it. Just, your ability, the ability to create imagery like this, insanely detailed, gorgeous, pictures with simple text commands is just mind-bending. And I happen to be writing a book on ChatGPT. I post regularly on LinkedIn. Anybody needs somebody to talk on AI, I'd be happy to do so. And I view myself as an AI jockey. Basically, we all are, right? And the sum of the whole, right, is greater than the sum of the parts. So when you come together with ChatGPT, there's a chemistry that occurs that results in something much bigger than both of you, right? Because without you, ChatGPT kind of doesn't matter. It doesn't really go anywhere and do anything, but you need to guide this powerful beast in order to ride it for the win, right? And the key thing about this is what makes all of this generative AI stuff so powerful is that it's natural language processing. So just by using plain English, you can make it do anything. And really, I mean, like, it's crazy what you can do. Understanding, and getting good ideas of what else you can do is always good, but it's really gonna, I'll try to help, get you outside of the box here today. And, you're thinking outside of the box. And also, I'm trying to impress that that ChatGPT is a thought processor, right? Microsoft Word was a word processor, but ChatGPT is a thought processor. It's going to help you think better. It's not just going to, help you do your homework, but it's going to actually help you be a better thinker. And there's a lot of ways to do that. We're not going to necessarily be able to get into some of those today, but it really is an amazing tool to help you make better decisions, think about things you wouldn't have normally been able to ideate really quickly. And it's a genius virtual assistant. Now, when do you not use AI? I think that's really important to know as well. Don't forget to always edit your own stuff, double check it, double check references, double check facts, because man, ChatGPT does a great job of faking it. But really, everything that it's doing is made up. So keep that in mind and always be skeptical about its output. Any questions so far? Thoughts? Okay. All right. So I just want to kind of mention a couple of things that I saw in AI news over the past, well, recently. I thought this was interesting. This actually came up maybe about a month ago. But the UK Deputy Prime Minister said AI is the most extensive industrial revolution yet. And I want you to think about that because you're at the beginning of a whole new phase of history. Like, it's like Thomas Edison inventing electricity, or, any other number of examples where a brand new, insanely powerful technology has entered the arena. And, we're trying to figure out how we can be the people that are using this to our advantage as we're on the really bleeding edge of this new technology. So you're in a good place. Hopefully this is an excellent use of your time. I also wanted to toss out a couple of things that I thought were super, super cool that I've heard recently. UCF researchers, like 2 weeks ago, succeeded in transforming brain signals, just neural signals, into audible speech using AI, which is pretty crazy. And Page, a company that does research into cancer, has announced it has the second largest LLM. That's a large language model. ChatGPT is an LLM, and they're training it on imagery of cancerous tissue to more effectively predict and detect cancer. So we're living in really, we live in an age of wonders and miracles. And if we can beat cancer in our lifetime, that's going to just be ridiculous. Like, for those of you who don't know Peter Diamandis, he wrote a book called Abundance, and he has this really interesting mindset that, yeah, technology, for all of its problems, it results in a much better world. Our world is so much better these days as a result of the technology. And he makes a really good case for it. But he also, by the way, I don't know if you probably can't see it in the background. That's the book right there. This is weird. I just saw this a couple days ago. So this is Peter Diamandis, and this is his AI clone, peterbot.ai, and he has a conversation with it. This is a real-time 3D model of his face mapped onto geometry and in this, yeah. Talk about magic. Holy cow. Like real time. And he has a conversation with himself, his AI counterpart, his AI clone, right? Another really fun thing that I did last week was there's a tool called Chirp, and I'm not going to be able to show it to you here because unfortunately audio quality sucks and I don't know how to make it better on Zoom, but I typed in, well, let me back up. First of all, there's this insane creative revolution that's occurring because of generative AI. And an example of that is I like to write little song lyrics. And I wrote, a chorus, and I stuck it into Chirp, which is a tool that will make whatever you write into a pretty good song in any genre that you want, and it will provide the instrumentation. So I made like a heavy metal version of my song, it made the vocals, somebody singing, like it did the music, it like wrote a freaking song and made a graphic to as a background for it. And that's just like tip of the iceberg of the crazy stuff that's going on in this space. And it's kind of mind bending. So super exciting time to be here. Does anybody want to tell me how they're using AI? We've kind of discussed it a little bit at the beginning. For anybody who hasn't spoken yet, too, you're definitely encouraged to chip in.
Yeah, I
Don't.
can go ahead. So,
Hey, Philip.
yeah, good morning. Yeah, for me, sorry, I just I have this thing in the way. Yeah,
Right.
so for me, I use AI mostly for study and playing around with ChatGPT. I
Okay.
have, I think I haven't tried Midjourney, but I look online, on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I didn't have a need for it right away.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of living alone and just busy with ChatGPT, Llama, and Google Bard. And there's another one, Claude, something. So there's several,
Claude.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. You try one model and you try the same question for another model.
Yeah.
Sometimes different question and one model answer better than the
Mm.
other one, and vice versa. Depends on the questions. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. For those, by the way, who don't know, so Claude, ChatGPT, Llama, which is Llama, is that Facebook?
Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, like you're gonna see all the tech giants are just gonna they're all diving into this big time, right? Apple's working on stuff. I imagine they probably had some kind of an announcement today at their dev conference. But anyways, keep going if you want to.
Yeah. So I'll just take a few more seconds, I guess, or a minute. So yeah, it's amazing. And I would like to use that for coding as well, because I'm an automation engineer. So right now I have to write a code, right?
Yeah,
And ChatGPT or GitHub Copilot, these are amazing. They can speed up the coding very fast. So I don't have to make a
yeah,
lot of error. And I could spend an hour doing something and I get bug and have debug it. Now I can get through like within second minutes. So this is very good.
it's
Uh,
incredible.
yeah, I'm hoping that I can make money out of ChatGPT. Maybe in the future. I mean AI in general, either through improving my job skill or side business or whatever. I don't know
Mhm.
yet. It look like there's a lot of potential in using AI, for business. And that's why when I
Huge.
saw this group, I say I better tap in and keep myself connected to what's going on.
Yeah, it's you know, it's huge. It's a great opportunity to be able to connect with other people and doing it in tomorrow. We're going to be doing a meetup here in Alameda for in person. I realize that might not be an ideal time for everyone, but in person stuff always fun as well. But yeah, Philip, it's crazy. You're and you're just seeing the beginning, right? It's a pretty decent assistant for coding, but it's going to get even crazier like really fast. So
This is a beginning and look like learning. One time I asked it like, so are you gonna share the whatever you learn? Because for me, 10 out of time, 10 out of 10 time, you're gonna do wrong like 2 or 3 times. I also study AI right now. So I ask him about supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and give it very good with explaining math. But sometimes it make an error. It's something very simple with math as well. So it's like you say, I agree. It's a beginning, and look like this system is learning every day. So it will be amazing in the next 6 months or 1 year.
yeah, it's bizarre. All right. Anybody else want to chip in and say anything, or should we keep going?
I
Keep
just had a
going.
question
Yeah.
about Chirp because I also do content and make music
Okay.
and I'm looking for something like that. I just Googled it, but I couldn't find anything. It's the CHIRP.
Yeah. Here's the, let's see. So the company's name is Dino,
Okay.
and Chirp, you can find it on, let's see if I got, okay, for those of you who don't know, by the way, this tool is called Discord. Discord is where a lot of the stuff is happening, and it's crazy. So Midjourney creates images, and it does it using Discord as an interface. Chirp, like, here we have pop music with Brazilian notes, alternative rock. Like, it's so insane, right? Like, yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Does that answer you? It's
Yeah.
super exciting, super fun to, yeah, better than watching TV by far. Okay. And I've seen on YouTube, there's a lot of tutorials as well on how to do it. Okay.
Donovan,
Yeah.
this Alan, I have something
Alan.
down. Yeah, so I'm coming for tomorrow's in-person get together.
Great.
And yeah, I want to talk more with you about the opportunities in the future. And
Yeah.
I have a meetup group that's called Get Me Out of the House Midweek, and it went dormant during COVID.
Yeah.
It has over 1,600 members, and it's mostly in the East Bay.
Okay.
And so I want to get it back active again, and the idea to provide them some machine learning opportunities, and then potentially make that a paid service.
Yeah. Let's talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. Yeah, it'll be really nice to be able to meet people and, interface and actually connect, because technology doesn't really connect you usually. Okay. Let me dive into this and keep going. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. I am going to, sorry, I'm going to quick drop this in the, whoops. So I'm going to upload, come on. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, in your chat, there is a cheat sheet that I've created. It's got prompts. It's cool. That's what I'm going to kind of talk about a little bit right now. It has, I don't know if you can see these. It's gonna, all right. This is strangely the hardest part of the whole present. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about this today, how to do roles. Hopefully you can see this on your screens. How to do roles, some thought enhancers, different frameworks for writing, styles of writing, kind of general guidelines, utility prompts, tone of voice. All of this stuff is, really useful. And think of it as building blocks where you're going to, put it all together and make cool things happen, right? Like if you were to say, give me a formal, write in a formal tone of voice, an email, a sales email to blah, 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 that's going to give you a totally different output than, say, uh, you wouldn't really write a wordy one, but Spartan's a good one. Okay, let me get into this and show you some examples. But my favorite part of this, by the way, is formats and outputting in different formats. As a content person, I'm, cranking stuff out for articles. I'm doing like, LinkedIn posts. And let me show you kind of some of my techniques for doing that. Okay, here we go. So one of my favorite kind of prompts, and this is about setting up context, right? So when you're speaking to ChatGPT, context is everything, and you define it as a role, right? You define its role as by saying pretend you are, and then think of a famous person or an expert, right? Or you can do it as a specific person, or you could say a specific role. So you could say, you are my, and you don't even have to say pretend you are. You just can say you are a copywriting expert, or you are a content creation expert. And it now knows how it's expected to respond, right? And then when you follow that up with your questions, it's going to like frame everything within that context, right? So who here has somebody, who would you like to talk with that's a famous person? Just anybody, like, don't be shy. How about, you could do President of the United States, you could do William Shakespeare, you could do anything. What do you want?
Yeah, Donovan, I was just thinking of that former president, Barack Obama.
Okay, pretend you are Barack Obama. How are you today? Let's see what it says. Okay. So here's something, right? Well, I'm not actually Barack Obama. So that is something that you can get rid of with custom instructions. And for those of you who don't know what custom instructions are, down here in the bottom left-hand corner, where you got your icon, there's custom instructions. In custom instructions, it will basically set up who you are and how you want ChatGPT to respond. Okay. There's ways, yeah, to keep those kind of responses from popping up and just, yeah, get into the flow of things, but we're going to skip that for the moment. I'm just
Hey,
going to say,
Donovan.
yeah.
Sorry, in that section there for the can you do like two profiles, if you will, or where these are the two costumes I wear?
Yeah. So right now, I did find a plugin that would do that. They don't have that as a feature right now. I don't know how good that plugin is. So basically what I do is I keep a text file with my two personas.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
they really, they need to have like multiple personas. It really desperately, but okay. So let's see. Oh, and because I've given it, my context about how I like to craft captivating LinkedIn content, that might be a problem, but let's just give it a shot. I want to write a short and inspiring speech about the environment. Rock. Okay. So let's channel a little bit of the Obama flair and touch upon the environment. So here we go. And here it goes. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, in the vast tapestry of time, our chapter is but a brief moment. Yet in this moment, the responsibility we bear is immense. We've been gifted a planet of boundless beauty and wonder, from the roaring cascades of Niagara to the serene whispers of the redwood forests. So, sounds good. I'm not sure, sometimes it's a little bit iffy on how good it is, but it's using his language, right?
Unfortunately, I have no idea what Barack would actually sound like.
Yeah.
Someone like Edgar Allan Poe, though, I do.
Pretend you are Edgar Allan Poe. Write me a poem on the environment or on, I'll just say environment. Let's see what it says. And by the way, I do know, one of the key things about Barack's speech styles, which are something that, ChatGPT probably studied, he had very concrete language that anchored you. And I'm seeing that there, but let's see. Okay, so channeling the melancholic depths of Poe. Beneath the ravens, so it just totally made this up. Okay, this does not exist anyplace. Beneath the raven's shadowed wing, the world does weep and softly sing of trees that once stood tall and grand, now fading in a dying land. Like, it just did that. Like, you're kidding me. And it goes on. Like, I don't know. I'm sure you can definitely fine tune it, but it's pretty darn good. Like, and writing poetry, it's really good at writing poetry. So, and limericks and other things like you see on the cheat sheet. Wow. I'm kind of like, I want to print these out and like turn them into posters or something. They're yet in this somber haunting night, a glimmer still of palest light, for nature's heart, though worn and torn, retains the hope of a new dawn. Okay, super fun. Really just play with it and, try to think of crazy roles, but it can also do really practical roles, right? You want to be an HR expert. You want to be, a CEO. It'll take on the persona, and as a CEO, it would be more likely to analyze or speak to you in terms of numbers or results, and take kind of more succinct in its tone of voice. It's a hoot.
Donovan,
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So in the chats that you had there in ChatGPT, or the conversations there, so if you had one where you're saying like, act like you're a CEO, and you kind of have tailored it by the back and forth to now it's like ready to write for, or give you samples or do some editing. And then you have a different chat where you've massaged that one to it finally being to the point of reflecting the copy editor you want for this marketing work.
Yeah.
If you go back later and like weeks later and go back to that chat, is it still retained there, or do you kind of got to reestablish that?
Nope, it totally retains it.
Okay, sweet.
And something that you can always do too is, if for some reason you didn't like its results, you could tell it, please reread this chat. I don't think you're going to have to do that. But if you tell it to read the chat from the top, sometimes that helps give it more context and gets it back on track. Yeah. But generally speaking, think of each one of these as like a little miniature version of, you gave it its instructions, it's going to follow them in that little bubble. Okay. All right. This is another super awesome, very utilitarian prompt. Explain it to me in the language of. All right. So if you were to go explain the theory of relativity to me in the language of a sixth grader. All right, kiddo, here we go. Imagine you're sitting in a spaceship that's zooming super fast, like as fast as light. Now, if you were to shine a flashlight straight up inside that spaceship, you'd see the light go straight up just like normal. Here's the wild part. So it proceeds to explain, right, the theory of relativity in really easy to understand terms. So if I were to say, please briefly explain the theory of relativity as say a college professor. Let's see what it says. So now it starts going through, right? Totally different Right? Special relativity, 1905, space-time, speed of light, constant. It's getting into the like, all of the equations and like, et cetera, general relativity. So, ooh, that's interesting. Gravity is geometry. Yeah, this is a rabbit hole. But the point is, you can explain, you could take the most complex paper that you can find on anything and have it explain it to you. Just copy and paste it in, and have it explain it to you in any language that you want. So really useful for understanding difficult, concepts. All right, here's a good one. And as promised, I'm going to stick this in the chat. If anybody has questions and is shy, please feel free to pop them into the chat. Okay, so training ChatGPT on your tone of voice is super useful for, you have different maybe hats that you wear, and you want to train it to, like if you're a ghostwriter and you wanted to analyze the writing style of the person that you're going to be, acting as a ghostwriter on behalf of, or if you just wanted to understand your own writing style, or you wanted to understand your company's brand identity and their tone of voice, this prompt would be the one that you would, or something similar is what you would use. Okay, so let's pop into this for a second. Okay. So here's I put the prompt in, right? And then I just copy and paste one of my writing samples in here. And, I tend to write, because I'm a copywriter, I tend to write in these short, like staccato sentences and what have you, try to keep it really tight. So this is what it comes up with. Style guide, channeling the essence of Donovan. Title. The title is direct and thought-provoking, right? Opening line, pose a question or a rule, short paragraphs, digestible bits. So it goes through and it does it's created a style guide that you could use for, right? Dry humor and upbeat sarcasm. Okay, I got a little bit of that. Clarity over fancy words, the why. So you could actually take this right now, copy that, and let's go like, you could take that. Once you've copied it, go into your custom instructions, go into here and paste them in. And then it's going to respond to you just like that in everything in every conversation you have. If you want to change it, you have to start a new conversation. It doesn't, if you change this in mid-conversation, it's still gonna keep the old guidelines. But yeah, super useful. Okay, questions? Any? No? Pretty cool though. Like it's the perfect thing about AI is it learns immediately, right? It's super easy to train. You just have to tell it exactly what you want in plain English. Remember, this is all about natural language processing, and just talk to it. Like that's, yes?
Yeah, one of the things I've been reading a lot about is how services are beginning to come down on AI. If you use ChatGPT to create your article, Google doesn't want to deal with it, or you can't post it on, or you can't sell your your book on Amazon if you use AI to create it, etc. So my question is about almost the de-AIing of AI content, so it doesn't appear to be AI generated.
Yeah. So first of all, I'd like to say, my understanding of the Google policy is Google doesn't care if it's AI or not. They've specifically stated that if it writes good content that the readers want, and it collects signals like how long people are on the page and stuff like that, how far down the page they scroll. If people like it, it's going to get ranked. So, but make my AI writing undetectable. This is a thing for those who care. Sometimes, you know, there are systems that do care, sometimes not. But you can see Quillbot, Word AI, Reword. So what these systems do is they just basically go through and they strip out all the signals that would make it appear to be written by AI. It's a really fast back and forth between these. And personally, I'm just going to say I haven't noticed any problems posting content. I use it to post Twitter threads. I use it to post LinkedIn. I use it on my website. I use it on Medium. I just make sure it's good, right? I always edit it and make sure that it's good. And if you want, even rewrite it a little bit. But these will clean up and make your stuff, right, 100% detectable. Lots of tutorials on YouTube for that as well. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question.
Donovan, can I ask?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hi, Donovan. I have a question. If you have experience with Grammarly and the rewriting, it has you can press like make it persuasive or make it cheerful. Do you have experience working with that?
I definitely use Grammarly like all the time. I love Grammarly. I kind of watch its little meter where, yeah, but I haven't, by the way, I haven't done the pro version, which I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to. If I wanted to, though, you could just do that with ChatGPT. Just take something that you've written and ask it, how can I make this more persuasive? And better yet, pretend you are a writing coach who's going to give me feedback on this persuasive writing that I'm working on, and explain what I can do to make it more persuasive, and it will do it. It'll do a really good job of it too. And I use it for that all the time. If you want to be a better writer, you have to get feedback and you need critiques. And I use it all the time to get critiques on, is this going to resonate with my audience? I'm writing a LinkedIn post. Please critique this. And it'll go through and make sure that it's professional. It's got all the things that you need to have in a LinkedIn post that are relevant to your audience.
Great, thanks. That's a good thing.
Okay, so real quick, because we're kind of running out of time. We don't got too much farther to go, but this is something that I've been having a lot of fun with. You got a transcript, you have notes, you have whatever. Let's go with, let me see if I can. So many windows open right now. Okay. So yesterday, I happened to log into X, right? I hate that. Okay, anyways, I log into X. And there's this like discussion going on, a live talk that these guys are having about how to send cold DMs on Twitter or LinkedIn so you can, do a really good job. And this is all sales professionals. So I went through, I just said, okay, I just started taking notes, right? These are my notes. You could do this with a transcript too. Anytime you can access a transcript, you can pull them off of YouTube. For example, I'll maybe talk more about that in a second, but here are my notes, okay? And then I took it in to ChatGPT because I wanted to clean it up. I wanted to make it usable, and I wanted to do some other things with it. So here's what I did. I need you to turn these notes into a LinkedIn post. Bonk. There's all my text. All right, let's whip up a post that'll make your LinkedIn followers stop, drop, and engage. So the reason why it's talking to me like that is I've specifically in my custom instructions, I told it to speak to me in a conversational tone. If I told it to speak to me in, in a matter of fact, straight to the point kind of tone, it would do that too. But I like to have this, I like this kind of bantery kind of tone. So sometimes it goes overboard. I just tell it to dial it back. So the art of making it DMs, the art of making it not crappy. Hey, folks, because I wanted to give it a sense of humor too. I wanted a dry wit. It can do, yeah, it does really interesting things with humor. But anyway, I went through, like, let's start with this one. Play the odds game. Always take the highest percentage shot. This is in Vegas. You can't bank on luck. So I think I actually asked it to revise to be more practical and less clever. So it changed that to be strategic. Take the best approach by considering the odds, know who you're reaching out to and why. So great. Here it goes. It just created it took what I wrote, turned it into bullet points. I did tweak a couple of things, but for the most part, done. All right. Yay. Now I say thank you. Why? Because I'm a polite person and I like the feeling of, being polite. So thanks. You're welcome. If you need more, like, it feels better in my head. I realize it's in my head. Now I'm going to show you what I did with that in a second. But first of all, I asked it to turn it into a Twitter thread. So a Twitter thread is a series of up to 200, these up to 280 characters. They're long form kind of Twitter content. They're a pain to write because you have, you got to figure out how am I going to get the right words in this 280 character limit or whatever, right? It does it, just cranks it right out, changes it. So then you just copy and paste that into Twitter as a Twitter thread, and away you go. Now, the other thing that I did with this that was fun, so I don't know if you guys use Canva, but what I did is I took the copy that I created okay, on LinkedIn, there's this thing called a carousel. A carousel is just a PDF, but is really easy to set it up and make these things work in Canva. It's where I do all my carousels. So I just copied and pasted it. I mean, this is my own slide because I want to toss this in, right? This is the essence of copywriting, right? Don't talk about yourself. People don't care about you. They care about the result you give them. But these are straight out of its, out of what it gave me. So I created this carousel about half an hour. Would have taken me to write this, and to rewrite it and blah, blah, blah. So I made this carousel and then I turned that in. I posted the carousel. I also posted the text from ChatGPT, right? The little article that it gave me, stuck it on LinkedIn. Boom, there's the content, done. And yeah, it's super, super duper helpful. Now, The key is you can do this with any notes, any text. You can do it with a web page, copy and paste a web page in. Keep in mind, you're going to hit a text limit of about 500 characters. Well, I don't think it's 500 characters. So ChatGPT has a token limit of 4,000 tokens. I don't know. It's between 2,000 and 4,000 characters. I'm not really sure how that works out. But here's the thing. If you're having a problem, like I uploaded a 2-hour long transcript, or I tried to, it wouldn't let me. This is where Claude comes in. So Claude is an AI by a company called Anthropic. And one of the most awesome things about Claude is it has 100,000 token limit. So ChatGPT, 4,000, Claude, 100,000. So literally, I uploaded a 2-hour long text transcript. For example, one of the things I love doing, right, is actually, let me see if I can quick pull this up too, is, we're living in an age of insane information, right? And it's just crazy what's going on out there. And let's see if I can quick bring this up. Okay. So for example here, Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, and had a conversation with a guy named Lex Fridman. If you want quality intel, this guy is amazing. He has the most interesting conversations with the coolest people. Anyhow, 2-hour long conversation. Do I got time to sit around and watch it? Wish I did. I don't. So I took the transcript and I turned it into an executive summary. I did a brief description of the discussion, biggest concerns, dumb ideas, his best questions and Sam's replies, key takeaways, greatest dangers and their solutions, greatest opportunities and benefits of AI. Claude wrote all this for me. I went through and I checked it, but holy cow, like that's, by the way, there's a typo, whoops. GPT. Anyways, so you've extracted all the stuff that's really important out of it. And it took 10, 15 minutes rather, and then I turned that into a piece of content. I put it on LinkedIn. I've put it on Medium. I'll put it on my website, whatever. It's amazing. And I'm just going to, kind of point it out, right? If you create content, this is your new best friend, if it's not already your best friend. So questions? No? I did a good enough job explaining that? Ideas? Yeah, it's crazy. So you could take in, maybe you want to maybe instead of turning it into a LinkedIn post, you want to turn it into a blog post. Maybe you want to turn it into into a YouTube script. Maybe you want to turn it into a curriculum for a class. Like, it'll do all of that. Like, it's awesome. Okay. Some things, if you want to stay in touch, put your email in the chat. This is my email, my direct email, which I don't usually give out, but also that in chat is, if you can give me feedback, I appreciate it, so that I can know the direction of, where where to go moving forward with the meeting. I do appreciate thumbs up on Meetup. Like, it's just, or stars, whatever, ratings are appreciated. And then of course, LinkedIn, follow me and say hi and let's connect. And hopefully we'll all figure out how to get through this together. Any other questions or thoughts? Anybody want to say anything?
Yes. Yeah, thank you for holding this meeting. I learned quite a bit of useful information. And by
Yay.
the picture you have is really amazing. Star Wars and this one, I like it a lot. So thank you, Don.
Yeah, thanks. Like, this is one of the cool things about Midjourney is it's called face swapping. And let's take a look at what that, I'll just briefly touch on it because it's kind of, okay, so this here, let's see if you can, I don't know if you can see the face here, but I wanted to do the Flash superhero carrying notes. So here's the Flash. I think that actually looks pretty similar to the character in the TV show. It's got his costume and stuff. But I uploaded my face and then I used it's this face replacement tool. And this is the weird part. I don't know if you can see this. Hopefully you can or not. But let's think about this for a second. So there's a mask on here, right? The mask is covering the full face. And it keeps the mask and replaces the eyes and the stuff that's showing with like, yeah, so it's called InSwapper for those of you who mess around with Midjourney. Cool stuff for sure. But that's, man, I have great hair.
Yeah, amazing. Like
Yeah.
Hollywood, famous actor,
Yay. Were you going to say something, Erica?
I just really enjoyed this. I feel like even with it helped me to finesse the way that I'm using it and in a much more savvy way. So I appreciate this and you hosting these. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good, great to see you. Samantha, did you?
Yes, there was some helpful stuff for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, especially as a content creator. Holy cow. Hey, Christina.
Hey, thank you so much. This is great. I actually learned so much.
Yay.
So occasionally, but what you did here, I think I'm gonna use it more now.
Yeah. The best way to learn is by playing, right? And when you play, you have fun and you're motivated to just have fun. And then you start then you start finding these really fun ways of using it. Like the thing that got me into using ChatGPT that just blew my mind, one of my first prompts was I asked it to write a sonnet about like a wizard and a cat who are friends. So sonnet is a specific Shakespearean literary structure, really hard to do. And when I did it, and when it did it, like in seconds, I was hooked. So yeah, play. Don't, it's not just about being serious. It's about, being amazed. So cool.
Donovan, thank you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Absolutely, Alan. We will catch you guys later.
Thanks, Donovan.
Ciao.
Bye.
See you, Gene.